Welcome to another episode of Hope for a Godly Man. I am your host, Wanda Erinle, and I am a champion for women, especially those who are hoping for a godly man and for those godly men. I am excited to bring you another episode where we look at the journey, the weight, and the hope of a wonderful woman. And I know you can't wait because all the episodes have been so good. And I'm looking forward to this conversation. This young woman is special to me, but as we talk, maybe a little bit about that will come out. So as we get ready, I'm going to bring her on and let her introduce herself to you. Welcome, Aniya.
Hi, my name is Aniya Cannon. I'm a recent graduate of the illustrious North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State
Okay.
University. And I recently just moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, where I started my big girl job at Wells Fargo as a finance analyst.
Wonderful. And so proud of you. Just full disclosure, Anaya is the daughter of my best friend. So just so much love. And I'm so thankful that you decided to come on and share with this community of women as we, talk about the journey of weight and the hope. So we always start out our episodes asking the question, what is a godly man to you?
What is a godly man to me? Um, I feel like the first thing I think about with somebody who's a godly man is somebody who has a vision for themselves and understand that in the world that they're on a continuous journey and nothing else like that. Of course, they will have their ups and downs. So just understanding that there will be things in life that are hard, but understanding how to go through those and always trusting God no matter what. Somebody who not only trusts God no matter what, but also tries to shine their light and show that they are a Christian man through the different things that they do, whether it's people are watching or whether they aren't watching. I feel like another characteristic of a godly man is somebody who loves everyone uncharacteristically. So, yeah, that's what I would think a godly man is.
Okay, thank you for that definition and really thinking through like the behaviors. Because when we think about that, what are those are actions that are associated
Yeah.
with them, right? And why are the actions of this godly man so important to you?
When I think about like what I want in a man,
Mhm.
and understanding and wanting to know if this is somebody that I could actually see myself with, or have like them being my husband, or even just a good friend, because you would want godly men and just friends as well.
Mhm.
I think actions speak louder than words. A lot of people say that you need to back up your words with action. So I think that's why, just because of like what we see.
You brought up such a good point, Anaya, and I think you're the first person that has done this. You said we want godly men as our friends as well. That's so good. That's so good. I mean, I've had some amazing men friends who were godly, who I was like, oh wow, I hope I can marry a man like this,
Yeah.
And that's a real thing because, as the body of Christ, right? We are one and we're supposed to lift each other up and encourage one another. And if you have a godly man as a friend, then he's there to kind of do that and tap you on the shoulder and be like, is that dude really who you want to be with?
Right.
Have you had that happen to you? Any of your male friends kind of like be like, "What are you doing?"
Yes, actually, one of my like I when I was thinking about that, I was thinking of one of my closest friends. One thing about it, like just friends in general, because
Mhm.
with my girlfriends, it's really easy to talk about God, but also being able to do that with my guy friends as well. Us just having conversations about um, whether it be like us reading scriptures or us just talking about and I like, do you really feel like this man aligns with your beliefs? So that's really
Mm.
nice to like have those conversations, whether he's asking me that or if I'm asking him, do you think that this girl that you like goes with your beliefs as well? So yeah, it's nice to have that.
Wow, that is so good because the Bible talks about iron sharpens iron, right? And when you surround yourself with the right people, because we all slip up. We all see somebody who looks really good, and then we kind of forget about some of the other things in the process. And so, along our journey, we do need those people who are going to help and encourage us along the way to make the right decisions. That's good. So when I think about, you just graduated from college and you went to a wonderful HBCU where we are there in full force, right?
Right.
So what was that like for you in keeping in mind the hope for the right kind of man to date, to be in your life? Did you find it challenging in a college setting?
I did. Um, Honestly, yeah. One reason I think everybody's noticing it, women are definitely ruining the world when it comes to schools. I feel like as each year passes, there's definitely more women going to school, which means like I don't know the ratio for us, but I feel like again for a lot of colleges, there are more women than there are men.
Okay.
So that's number one. Number two, it's not just men. I'll say it's women as well, but you can definitely tell. Like if you ask, there are definitely more men than women that do this. But a lot of men just want to have their fun, and I don't judge. Like I support have your fun. I just knew for me personally, and I don't really know where I got this mentality from because it wasn't like I always talk to my mom and she's like, "Oh, you have to do this, you have to do that." I feel like from having certain conversations with some of my friends. I didn't want to have that type of fun that other people were having in college. I
Mhm.
was more of I think it also was because of the conversations I not only have with my mom, but also with her friends, like dating to marry, or, when I'm talking to men, it's like, can I see myself with you long term? And yes, of course, again, like I said, it's cool to have your fun. It's cool not to think about those things and get to know them. But at the same time, for me, like that's always going to be in the back of my head. So
Mm.
just not having that same mentality as men was a little like hindrance, but it's okay. I still got to meet some really cool people.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a strength, right? It's the strength in who you are, knowing who you are, and not conforming to what everyone else is doing because that's the norm. So that's good. I admire that, in you, especially in a college setting where some people get swayed one way or the other depending on what's going on. So that's good. You've had good conversation around what that looks like. So when you think about the characteristics, the actions that you described, do you know where you kind of got those from? Did you see examples of men, godly men, Christian men that you kind of modeled those thoughts after?
Oh, for sure. My parents, seeing that in my dad and how he takes care of my mother, and knowing that I wanted that. Um, and then, like my grandparents, basically all of my family, a lot of my family is still married. And I know that that's one thing. That's another thing I talk about with my friends. A lot of my friends happen to have divorced parents. So their outlooks and views on dating men or just people in general are a little different than mine, just because I feel like I have a stronger want for settling down and finding a man to marry, and not just finding a man to like just be with and have fun with.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would say that.
That's so good. So that parallel between seeing the example, kind of helped you kind of stay strong in what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah. So we see that a lot in what God talks about, like our witness. How we live our lives is going to influence others sometimes more than what we say. And you said that earlier. You said actions speak louder than words, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that's a great example. Me, I didn't have that example. My parents were separated, never divorced, but
Mhm.
I was able to start seeing examples of happy marriages and good husbands, right? Because I believe I had a great example of a good wife, of a woman who loved God, but I didn't have the opposite. And so each of our journeys kind of helps inform that hope for a godly man. Um, do you think that there's anything else that stands out for you when you think about being about your journey? Um, as you get older, we talk about the weight, but you being a little bit younger, it's not necessarily the weight right now. Do you have a time frame? Do you think that you might want to get married?
Of course, I would be surprised if nobody didn't have a time frame when they didn't want to get married or at least thought about it. I would love to get married before like I'm 30 or at 30. That's the
Okay.
goal. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Just learning how to be patient. So, but yeah, I would like to get married like by the time I'm 30.
Okay. Okay. So you have some time to kind of be in the wait, but right now you're happy with just the way things are and work and everything, or you feel like there's something, do you feel like there's something missing in your life?
I am happy with everything right now. I feel like there's no reason for me not to be happy because I have everything that I need. I have a family that loves me. I have friends that love and adore me and that I can always talk to if I don't want to talk to my family, even though that's never the case. I have a great job and everything's just like it's going really well for me right now. But of course, like in the back of my head, I'm like, dang, I really do wish that I could, talk to somebody other than my friends or my family. But at the same time, like learning patience has been something that's been really big for me in college. So just understanding that like being patient will get me very far, and understanding that, like I said, like this is a journey. So I trust God and his timing.
Okay. All right. Those are the words are key, right? Trusting God and his timing. So as you start off in a new city, I mean, I love Charlotte. I lived there for 2 years. What does it look like for you? Do you think that you're going to date, prioritize dating, or anything like that?
I would love to prioritize dating while I'm in Charlotte. I don't know what what it looks like to prioritize dating personally. So I will say that, but I definitely my mom asks me all the time, it's like, well, are you putting yourself out there? I'm like, it's kind of hard not to put myself out there. Like I'm going to the different functions. I feel like I'm doing a good job of settling in Charlotte and getting to know what it has to offer. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because that's important is to live life and enjoy your life because that exposure kind of lets you know what's good and what's not good. And as you continue to develop and become the woman that you want to be. So let's kind of flip the script. You want to be married by 30, you have these we won't say requirements, things that you think about that you'd like to align yourself with as far as a man, a godly man, a Christian man. What do you think that looks like for you? Because the Bible says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. And so that means when your man finds you, you'll be wife material. So what do you think wife material looks like for you?
Wife material looks like for me. Um, I would probably say standing 10 toes down behind my future husband for sure, like showing that support always and being there for him in any way or capacity that he needs. Um, People always tell me like I'm very optimistic, so I feel like having that optimistic quality like for myself, I feel like is something that is really nice to have in a wife, just to always like have that smile even when things are tough, like showing that you can still persevere and be okay. um I give them with like just support, like just being the shoulder for them and being able to talk to them. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can see in just being a godly wife for them. But yeah, I would say those.
Okay, no, that's good. That's good. That's a off the cuff answer. You didn't have any time to prepare for that, right? And sometimes as women, we don't think about that. We
Yeah.
don't think about So don't you think it's interesting that you thought about what the man should be look like, who you're going to be with, but not about yourself? you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's so important that, when we think about how God wants to align us, He wants us to be equally yoked, that there has to be care in who we are. Are we ready, to
Right.
be the wife, the woman um, that the man is looking for, or that we want our husband to experience. So yeah, good job thinking through that on your feet.
Thank you.
I saw the wheels turning a little
Yeah.
bit. That's so good. I think about in my journey, I didn't always know what that looked like either. And I think that as I matured in life, as I matured in God, I became more aware of things that I needed to work on in me, right? Like
Mhm.
you keep talking about patience and becoming more patient. That's like I think almost on everybody in the world's list, right? To
Yeah.
become more patient. So, I pray that the Lord continues to show you things about yourself so that you can stand 10 toes down. I like that analogy. Where'd you get that from, Aniya?
Everybody says that. It's
Okay,
actually,
okay.
yeah, it's a saying that a lot of people say right now.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah. So I'm a little older, so I hadn't heard that. And see, I'm okay with saying that. Yeah. So that's good. And just being a support, I always think about the story of Samson and Delilah in the Bible, and how Delilah was able to entice Samson, and not in a good way, by just being there for him, and that he would lay his head in her lap and she'd play in his hair, and she was a safe space for Samson, even though that wasn't really the person that he needed to be with. And if a person who that man is not supposed to be with can do that for him, we need to be able to be that as a godly woman and a wife, to be very supportive in ways that a man needs. So that was a really good analogy, biblical analogy, whether you knew it or not, maybe from the things that you've seen, to be able to support that godly man that we continue to hope is going to come into your life. Yeah, that's good. So when you think about the journey ahead of you, are there things that you do for yourself currently to keep yourself encouraged, as you set maybe the by 30 deadline, but not so concerned with it, but knowing that you would like to date right now? What do you do to encourage yourself in the process?
Um, to encourage myself in the process, I feel like I've always said it, but like I said, like being patient, because I feel like that was one thing that's definitely, like, it's hard for a lot of people.
Hmm.
So doing like not worrying about it and focusing on it so much, because I feel like when I was worried about, oh, like when will I find my man, when will I have a relationship, because I have a lot of friends in relationships. So of course when you see all your friends in relationship, you're like, oh, like I want to have that too. But
Hmm.
again, like all in God's timing. So for me, you know with that patience comes not worrying about it as much, and with not worrying about it as much comes with like doing like different hobbies or doing different things that personally for me make my mental feel a lot better if I'm not so focused on it. So, for example, I started taking like an adult tumbling class to just like do something fun and go and meet new people. Or I started doing like I joined a run club. It's called Mad Miles. They do like Monday,
Oh,
Tuesdays,
wow.
Saturdays, but I just do it on Tuesdays. So just doing different things, getting to know the area, hanging out with friends, just because I have so many people that love me and that I love, and there are still so many people that are out there that I need to meet and network with, and so I was like, focusing on something else.
Okay. Thank you for those very practical ways, because as our community of women watch this, right, they're going to need to be, encouraged in different ways. So just looking at you, within your age group, finding those ways to practically, keep yourself focused, encouraged, and knowing what's important in life. So thank you for sharing that.
Thanks.
So when you think about your age group, and maybe not your friends, because it sounds like you surrounded yourself with other women who are Christian young women who are trying to, live their life a certain way. Um, what challenges do you see for your age group when it comes to dating and dating a godly man or a Christian man?
Same thing that happens in college is the same thing that happens outside of college. Um, just that mentality that unfortunately, I personally, and this is from my view, and maybe guys see it differently, but this is from my view and a lot of other girls I've talked to, guys are still not ready to settle down at our age. And again, it's understandable. Like I'm 22 years old, go out and explore, get to know new people. So I totally understand that point of view. Again, that's just not for me. That's not what I'm about. But I feel like that's one of like the biggest challenges is that you still will meet a lot of men who just like don't have the same, that aren't on the same type of timing that you are on, which is okay. Another challenge, I feel like it just depends on the area you're in. You said that you love Charlotte, but I, along with a lot of people, feel like Charlotte isn't like the best when it comes to the dating scene. So
Mhm.
sometimes, depending on where you are, where you live, it can be a little harder to meet men and to
Mhm.
meet others that, are that godly man for you. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I love Charlotte, but I'm with you on that. It was hard. And it's like when I was there, Charlotte was very clicky. You had to know the right people to get into the right spaces. So I feel you on that. But I thought it was just a nice, clean,
Yeah.
beautiful city, nice pace, and everything like that. But as far as the social scene, I get that. I
It's
get
definitely very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, and I think for any age group, it's finding that right place to meet people who are like minded. Are you attached to any churches, houses of worship where you can maybe not always find someone like minded?
Yes, I did find a church a couple months ago, which I'm really thankful for. It's called Union Church. It's actually very funny. A lot of A&T students go there.
Oh,
Union Church, yes, a lot of young people go there basically. So that's been really cool. They do so much. So it's been really cool to see. I haven't gone as much as I would like, but that's definitely a church I can like see myself at long term.
okay, that's wonderful, wonderful. So, we always hope that that's a place, but just want to encourage you to look at the fruit. Just because they're in a church doesn't mean that they are really, spiritually mature or where you are. So
Mhm.
that's wonderful. Hopefully, you're getting fed with the word. When I was there, and I don't know how many young people, I went to a Friendship Baptist Church when I was there years ago. I don't know what's going on with that church or not, but that was a great place. I was getting fed really well. I grew there. Okay. So we've talked about your journey, your age group, what keeps you encouraged, what practically you do to kind of keep yourself going. When you think about the women who might watch this, who are your age, is there anything that you would want to leave with them? Words of encouragement, any wisdom and lessons that you've learned? Is there anything that you would like to share with the listeners of the podcast?
I said this at the beginning, and I said it actually because of the sermon I heard when I did go to Union Church a couple of weeks ago, and the pastor was talking about it's really important for you to have a vision. It's a lot harder to go through life when you don't have a vision. You don't like, yes, of course, your like plan isn't going to go exactly how it's going to go because God has your journey set in stone for you. But at the same time, you should be able to see where you want to go in the next 5 to 10 years. Like you asked me, when do I see myself getting married, or would I like to get married? And for me, that's me wanting to get married at 30. So though I said, I don't want to focus on men as much just because I want to be patient at the same time as, like you said, I think it's really important to think about what do you want in a man? When do you see yourself being married and having that vision of just what does marriage look like to you and what is marriage to you? I think that's super important to think about before you get in a relationship.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Yes, the Bible says without vision, people perish, right? And so writing the vision and making it plain is nothing wrong with that hope. And that's what we're here to talk about, having that hope for a godly man, keeping that hope flame, because the word says that hope in God will never disappoint. So when you continue, Aniya, to root your hope in God and what he can do in your life, then he will continue to order your steps towards that godly man. And I know that is the prayer for you from your all the members of your family and extended family who love you. And so I just thank you for this time and kind of sharing a little bit of yourself and your journey where you are and why it's important to hope for a godly man. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course, thank you for having me.
All right. So thank you everyone for joining us in this episode of Hope for a Godly Man. I love this conversation. It was a fresh perspective from a young woman who has a beautiful journey ahead of her. And so stay tuned for the next episode of Hope for a Godly Man. And make sure you go out and tell somebody so you can join us on Instagram and on Facebook. Join the community, encourage one another, and leave a note for Aniya and let her know if you can relate and what your life maybe at her age range look like. Thank you.
Hey, who this? I'ma pull up in a brand new day with this.